Hey everyone, welcome back to Crochet for Absolute Beginners. I'm Beth from Beth's Boutique and Design Studio, and today we're learning one of the most important skills in crochet when it comes to making plushies, hats, baskets, and basically anything worked in the round. Today we're talking about how to increase in crochet, how to decrease in crochet, what they actually do, and how to use them without getting confused. If you've ever looked at a crochet pattern and seen things like this and thought, what does that even mean? Don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll completely understand it. So, grab your yarn, your hook, your stitch marker, and let's get started. Before we actually crochet anything, let's talk about what increasing means. An increase means you are putting more stitches into your round. That makes your project go wider. You'll increase for things like plushie heads, circles, hats, baskets, coasters, and basically anything that needs to expand outward. The most common beginner increase is 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. So instead of going into 1 stitch, you'll put 2 stitches into 1 stitch. That's it. That's an increase. Let me show you what that actually looks like. We're starting here with 6 single crochet in a ring. You're going to insert your hook into the stitch like normal, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. I'm going to pause here since this is the beginning of my second row, and I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker to let me know this is the beginning of the row. That's your first single crochet. Now, and this is the important part, instead of moving to the next stitch, you're going to go right back into that same stitch again. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Now you've just made 2 stitches in 1 stitch. This is a single crochet increase. In patterns, increases are usually written as the following. And they all mean basically the same thing. For example, this means single crochet in the next 6 stitches, then put 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Patterns can look intimidating at first, but once you know the abbreviations, they become way easier to understand. If you keep increasing evenly around your work, your piece starts laying flat like a circle. That's how people make coaster bases, plushie bottoms, rugs, bucket hats, and amigurumi heads. If you stop increasing, your work starts turning upward and into more of a tube or bowl shape. So increases literally control the shape of your project. So we are going to continue now. We are going to continue single crocheting around because I want this to continue to go outward instead of going upward. So now that we have 2 in the first stitch, we're going to put 2 into the second stitch. So you're going to insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Right back in with your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to do it again in the third stitch. And the fourth, and that's the 5th, and then lastly the 6th. As you can see, my project can lay down flat, and you should have a total of 12 stitches since you put 2 in the previous 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So the next step, when you have gotten to the diameter that you want your project to be, instead of increasing any more, if you're making a spherical object and you don't want it to lay flat, this is where you're going to actually crochet only 1 into each. And you'll see that it starts to kind of cup upwards. So as you see, now we no longer lay flat, but we're more of a small bowl shape. So again, the increases is going to help you get to the diameter that you want your project to be. If you're doing a flat project, you won't need to do what I just did. But if you're wanting to make a plushie or a basket or a hat, you're going to have to get to a point where you're doing the single crochet around to start giving shape to your project. Now let's talk about decreasing. A decrease is an opposite of an increase. Instead of adding stitches, you're reducing stitches. This makes your project smaller or helps close it up. You'll use decreases for closing plushies, shaping heads, tapering pieces, and narrowing parts of a project. The beginner-friendly decrease we're learning today is the invisible decrease. And don't let the name scare you, it's actually easier than it sounds. Normally with single crochet, you go through both loops of a stitch. But for an invisible decrease, we only go through the front loops. Go into the front loop of the first stitch without finishing anything, meaning we're not going to yarn over, we're not doing anything, just inserting it into the front loop. Then we're going to slide our hook down. Our hook part will catch this first loop that we've pulled up, not to worry about it. Then we're going to go into the front loop of the second stitch. We're going to have 3 loops on the hook now. Our working loop and the 2 front loops we pulled up from the next 2 stitches. Now yarn over and pull through both of the front loops that we put. Now you should have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both loops. That is an invisible decrease. And what you just did was turn 2 stitches into 1 stitch. You can go ahead and place your stitch marker if you're using one to mark where your beginning of your row is. Invisible decreases create a much cleaner look, especially for amigurumi. Regular decreases can leave little gaps or bumps. Invisible decreases help your stitches look smoother and tighter, which is why most plushie patterns use them. And don't worry if it feels awkward at first. Almost everyone struggles with decreases in the beginning. Your hands will get used to it with practice. Although the invisible decrease is widely suggested, I would also like to show you what a normal decrease looks like. And this I actually use if I'm using specialty yarns such as fuzzy yarns or yarns with a lot of fiber off of it, such as the scrubby yarns. Sometimes it's hard to see your stitch and it's hard to tell where the front loop is. So when I'm using these special yarns, this is how I do a normal decrease, and this can be your fallback if the invisible decrease is not working out for you. You're going to insert your hook into the stitch, both loops like normal, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then you're going to go into the next stitch over. So this was the stitch we just pulled up a loop in. Now we're going to go into this stitch, both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Now, this one, as you can see, is leaving that bigger gap. But if you're using fuzzy yarns, this is going to be less noticeable. So honestly, my recommendation, if you're a beginner, just choose whatever feels natural to you and work your way up to the invisible if that one's not easy for you now. That's actually what I did. I started out with the regular decrease and worked my way up into the invisible decrease. Let's go over a few super common mistakes beginners make. Accidentally increasing when you didn't mean to. This happens when you crochet twice into the same stitch by accident. That's why counting stitches is so important. Missing stitches after a decrease. Because decreases combine stitches, it's easy to lose track of where your next stitch goes. Again, this is another reason why counting stitches and using a stitch marker is very helpful. Pulling decreases too tight. Try to keep your tension relaxed. If your hook starts fighting you, you're probably crocheting too tightly. Let's go ahead and finish this row of decreases so you can see what it will do to your project. So we've already done 2, so we're going to do our 3rd decrease. I'm going to be using the invisible decrease stitch. Again, use whichever one is more comfortable for you. The main idea here is just decreasing between 2 stitches and making them 1. That's my 4th one. My 5th one. And my 6th one. Now, if you see here, we actually are starting to have a small spherical shape. Later in the series, we'll go more into closing this up, but this just kind of gives you an idea of how people get those nice round shapes for their projects, especially for plushies. Learning increases and decreases is one of those big crochet milestones, and once this clicks, you unlock so many projects. And that's it for today's video. You officially learned how to increase, how to decrease, and how to shape your crochet projects in the round. These are foundational skills that you'll constantly use in crochet, especially if you want to make amigurumi or plushies. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for the next lesson in Crochet for Absolute Beginners. And remember, if your stitches aren't perfect yet, that is completely normal. Crochet is all about practice, and every crochet project teaches you something new. I'll see you in the next video.